Hi, so Liska, here at Beaumont People, we do get a lot of people getting in touch about their resume, anxious about it and wondering if they've done it correctly, and also wondering why they're not necessarily hearing back from job applications. And I do really empathize with these people. This is something I personally have experienced myself in the past. And we were talking earlier about it actually, because I was saying how, your emotions can really cloud how you behave in this process. It can feel like a personal rejection if you don't hear back from your resume, having made an application, and it can feel like an awful lot of work. So
I think, Rebecca, what I'd say to you, I recruit executives, and so often they haven't dusted off their resume for a long time, or they've often found roles through connections and through networks, and now having to actually apply for a job, and it's quite daunting because it's not what they've done for most of their career. So I think, like we were chatting, is there, if you actually take the mindset that looking for a job is a job in itself. And I think once you have an awareness about that, you can take a deep breath out, because it's not a quick fix, but there's certainly things that you can do to support yourself in that process. And the first thing I would say is understand that it's just going to take time, and it's going to require an investment of your time, because, as I always say, the fifth version of your resume and your cover letter is always going to be better than the first version, and that takes time. And I know from our conversation that when something is personalised and you feel the individual, and maybe you want to share what you did when you joined the Beaumont team, it can really deliver a reward to take the time to make things personal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And do you have any more tips for what else people can do in terms of managing the process?
Absolutely. So I think the other thing is, I say storytelling. Other people might use the word narrative, but you need to be able to tell your own professional story really tightly. And you need to practice it, and you need to know what you're going to pull out. It's kind of like the resume version of your elevator pitch. And often I'll do a coaching session and they'll go, "Oh, can you just repeat that back to me?" Because one of the places where people get lost, particularly if they've had a long career, is they don't know what to focus on what not, and they just waffled. They didn't know what. So build the narrative of your career trajectory into a tight narrative, and think about it as telling a story. So investment of time, get the narrative right. The other thing I would say is record data. So be consistent. So, take know which jobs you've applied for, record where you got to in the process. Because like anything in life, that data is going to give you some insights. Oh, well, that version of my resume worked better, or that version of my cover letter worked better than this. Oh, I'm getting more response for these type of jobs and less response for those type of jobs. And then you can just tweak your job search accordingly as well. Oh, I'm getting better response and connections through LinkedIn than I am on Seek, for example, or recruiters are working well for me in this space. So, I think, you can be informed about how you go about it. And then I think, we've talked a lot about this, Rebecca, is mindset. One of the biggest things is that when people apply for jobs, their application isn't always acknowledged. And really the reason for that is often it's that the back-end processes that receive the resumes aren't always designed to provide a response. And when you're working with volume, and particularly, in a time that we find ourselves in, often time commitments and time constraints mean that applications aren't always dealt with as sensitively as they might be. So really have that mindset that a person is saying no to the paper they're not saying no to you as a person, and just accept that you might not hear back. And I think once you've made your peace with that, then it's just easier to deal with it and not take it quite so personally. They're my 4 tips.
I think those are amazing tips. Thank you so much for sharing them. And when I was going through those struggles, I wish I'd had that insight. Here at Beaumont People, we have lots of videos and resources that are free on our website that you can check out, download, listen to, watch, read. And also, if you would like a more personalised, in-depth service to help you with career transitioning or general career coaching, Liska and I, along with some others within the team, are both part of the career coaching team. So you can find more about that on our website as well. Thanks again, Liska.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Rebecca. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.